Thank you very much to Michael Clark there. And don't forget, 7 don't have the ODIs. Ian Higgins here with Sam Perry and Dave Edwards, the great cricketer here on Channel 7. So much to talk about. The first test in Sri Lanka done over there in Brisbane. Australia won in 15 minutes, decimating the carcass, in a cricketing sense, of Sri Lanka.
Jarring image.
A jarring image. We're also going to be talking about the second test ahead there in Canberra at Manuka Oval. Obviously, the WBBL finals just happened. The Heat winning over there. The Big Bash is still going on. It's still a thing. Right. There's about 6 months left. Also, England got absolutely smashed by the West Indies, so we absolutely need to talk about that. That's all before we toss up the big questions here with the great cricketer on 7. We're asking you, serial killer or cricketer? It's a confusing segment, but run with it. That's all before #AskTGC answering your questions. So, boys, Sri Lanka, they were not nearly as good as what we thought.
Oh, really? we got what we needed, though.
Yes.
Here goes, didn't we? Like we needed runs. We got some runs. We needed to kind of pile in. We needed like a big, easy win. We needed guys finishing the match and saying out of the sides of their mouths, you know, oh, we've got a few days on the golf course now. And this was Australian cricket the way we like to see it.
Yeah. Oh, it was a temporary kind of serotonin hit for the nation's flagging dopamine levels. I mean, as you flagged there, we do want to return desperately to the late 90s and the early 2000s when winning was de rigueur. You know, all we did was win, just endless victories. You know, you can count them on, I don't know, you can't count them. They were countless. There were so many of them. But we've won this test, and we're probably going to go on and win this. Then the Ashes 6-0, even though there's only 5 tests in the Ashes.
The most satisfying nature of it was the throwback. It was just the 3 days of it, and you know, just like, but no one was watching, so it doesn't really count. Pat Cummins, incredible. 10 for the match.
He incredible?
Yes. I think he played so well that if he wasn't playing, that test might have gone 4 days.
Yeah, well, that's a hell of a comment. 10 for Cummins. Yeah, and like
silly figures. I mean, those are like underage figures. The kind of, you know, the ratio of wickets he got and runs per overs bowled. It was just what was it? It was like 6 for. Can someone give me a statistic for the second?
I can't say exactly what it was. It was like 3 then
6 or 15 off 13 or something ridiculous.
3 then 7 or 4 then 6. But yeah, and it meant that they sort of rolled a few more Gillette ads that have him involved. No idea if they've got a connection to Channel 7. I'll say it anyway. But there is. I wanted to pick up on this. Have you seen him in that Gillette ad where his dad's involved and he just exacerbates the idea of him as a nice guy?
Yeah.
But he's also shaving in his whites before he goes out to play.
Yeah.
Is that something that they're doing in the Aussie side now, or is that his secret? He literally is like foaming his face up with Gillette gel and then shaving with a razor and then just walking out to bowl.
Well, I think that's what was happening when we were bowling to the Indian side, particularly Pujara. Langer was espousing his bowling plans, and Pat was like, just one tick, just got to get the sides.
Well, yeah, for the aerodynamic, you know, benefits of shaving between innings as a fast bowler. You've got to get those extra kind of kilometres an hour somehow.
He's the most clean shaven of the Australian bowlers as well. So, like, it's an interesting choice. They've just picked the best looking bloke.
Do you think he can grow a beard? That might be the issue. And that's a big cross.
Well, you don't really need to in Gillette ads. You just need to be able to run the shaver gently over the jawline. The jawline is the hero product, not the Gillette razor. I mean, honestly, that sells itself.
Yeah.
This is normal to talk about this sort of stuff on commercial TV.
Normal.
There was a stat that came up after his 19 tests that he has played so far for Australia, which is weird because it feels like he's played about 65 because he started in Sri Lanka in South Africa in about the mid-90s, I think was his first test.
It was, 94.
94 it was, bowling with McGrath. McGrath was one of the guys that he was compared to, Dennis Lilly as well. And after 19 tests, he's slightly ahead. So, like, great, like, amazing company to be in, you know, apart from those domain ads that he's in as well.
Exactly, more ad talk in relation to Pat Cummins. I mean, well, he's been the real winner out of the Smith and Warner sandpaper gate thing, but we've talked about this before.
What about the game itself, though, quickly? I mean, maybe we can talk about that briefly. I mean, you know, we did flag that it was going to be a lot different to the India series, which was very difficult. It was almost reminding me a little bit about, you know, going to school, and you know there were certain subjects that were scaled. I think that the Sri Lanka series should be scaled, kind of like how general maths is scaled at school, and you might get 90, but it gets dragged down to 50%.
Right.
India, you know, win away against India. That's like India is 4-unit maths, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And everything in life is like HSC, UAI stuff. It's just a number that you go for, and you're just saying the Sri Lanka series should be devalued and scaled down.
I think so.
And just like it, when you leave the HSC, you realise that none of it even matters in the same way.
When you leave cricket, your life's a better place.
So one thing that's been tossed up here is Mitchell Starc's form.
Yes.
So he did get his 200th wicket there in the Gabba over there, but he hasn't bowled well this summer. Jai Richardson debuted stunningly, I would say. Is Mitchell Starc's position under any sort of threat moving forward into the Ashes?
Probably. I mean, he hasn't performed for a while, and Mitchell Starc's one of those guys that when he looks bad, he looks quite bad. There's no like the gap between his very best and very worst is quite a lot. But similarly, that's a reason to keep him, because I think we're going to need like every piece of genius we can call upon for England. Like 6 out of 10 players aren't going to do it for us. I think Starc will keep his place in that first test, but I think he may be discarded fairly quickly, especially on the back of Richardson's performance. He looked very good. He bowled fast outswingers that were kind of Dale Steyn-esque.
Well, we talk a lot about, hitting the right kind of runs. Does Mitchell Starc get the right kind of wickets? Because there's a lot of talk about the wickets that he does get, and maybe they're not, top 1, 2, 3 batsmen. He tends to get a lot of tail enders out. So can we start talking about the right kind of wickets?
Well, I like that chat, the right kind of wickets. It is an important job though to clean up the tail, like in the Ashes.
Someone's got to do it. It's admin.
Yeah, it's admin. Mitchell Starc does all the admin for the team, basically. Now, Kawaj, another guy who's a little bit out of form. Form extended just throughout the summer. He obviously scored a famous 140 in the UAE, then reverse sweeping his way to a draw for Australia, one of the most famous draws in the last 140 years of Australian cricket. Just made that up on the spot. Is his spot in any sort of jeopardy?
I don't think so. I think he's like the only guy who kind of averages over 40 in Test cricket in that side. He's still a comfort blanket to come out. But yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, he's struggled. I mean, no scores over 50 in his last 9 innings. Usman Khawaja. That said, that 141 against Pakistan and the UAE, in the context it was delivered in, although it was an absolute road, it's something I'm prepared for him to dine out on probably for the rest of his life. He's got a spot in the Australian side for life. He can dine for free.
Free meals
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's probably fair as well that he's been like messed around a little bit between like opening and 3 and stuff. Probably the discourse between the rest of the batting lineup has not helped him at all. Edo's still no hundreds this summer. On my agenda says ha ha afterwards. Do you need Australia to score hundreds at Canberra?
Yeah, I do.
You need?
I mean, I do. You're asking me personally.
Yes.
I need hundreds in Canberra.
What happens if you don't get it?
Yeah,
given that it's a need in the way that
well, I'll be
shelter is.
indignant as a consumer that there aren't hundreds, and I'm accustomed to hundreds. So it's change. I'm going to have to deal with change. It's the whole thing. But I really think that if we're not going to get hundreds in this test in Canberra on the Hume Highway / road that it is, and I'm just assuming it's not going to be a green top. Canberra's never produced a green top. Well, it's the first test Canberra's ever had, so let's see what you got, Canberra. But I think whatever happens, we just desperately need runs. We need to be gluttons, as we always say every episode, for runs, and if we're not going to get them now, maybe we're never going to get runs.
Pez, Tim Payne's toss record is awful. Does he just need to win a toss and us just bat for 3 days? Because we can.
I'd really like to see that. I mean, I think Kevy Roberts, as he's known in elite cricket circles, the Australian cricket CEO, has pulled off a masterstroke here by listing essentially one of the lowest ranked test teams to play on the biggest road in world cricket. I mean, if Australia cannot fill their boots in this fixture, then God help us. Yeah, that's right. God help us.
Divine intervention is required.
Okay, well, let's talk about Canberra now. The squad, that's another change to the squad. Marcus Stoinis has joined the squad for those tuning in to cricket for the very first time. It seems odd that he is going to play because the coach, Justin Langer, Pez, has said that they want to keep the same 11, but he's joining the squad. What's that about?
Well, I think this is one of those get him around the boys selections, as we learn in Australian cricket, which increasingly is taking on Aussie rules parlance. It's important to get in and around players. It's important to be up and about. It's important to possess these intangible qualities of being able to kind of create some sort of energy vibe without, again, statistically impacting the scorebook. So I think it's an around the boys
selection. Is it kind
of
like how Vincent Chase in Entourage has his friend Turtle around all the time, just to kind of make him feel good. I mean, his childhood friend reminds him of the Bronx and so forth. But he's just good to be around. He's just there when you come home. He's playing PlayStation. He might have been indulging in some recreational things. It's just good to be around. I've always said that about Turtle.
Well, that's interesting, Edos, because someone who has, again, been neglected out of the squad, well, actually 2 guys, Wade and Maxwell, Langer doesn't want them in or around the squad, which is the opposite of Stoinis.
And they're neither up nor about either.
So. Well, that's no good.
Have you forgotten that we're doing a TV show live again?
Yes, I have. I've blacked out again. Let's talk about the WBBL final, guys. The Heat versus the Sixers. First of all, I just want to say that Elise Perry won Player of the Tournament. Somehow, she only scored 776 runs at an average in the mid-80s in a T20 competition. That's probably a record that'll never be broken, he said, with no confidence at all. So Elise Perry obviously can be extremely smug that she scored that many runs and her team didn't even win the competition. So, you know, what more can she possibly do?
Yeah, I don't know what other kind of parlance you can apply to Elise Perry, who just seems to break records at will and is a extremely superior player in the WBBL. Though she didn't win the comp this year, and nor did Lisa Healy. The Brisbane Heat deserved it. Beth Mooney was the star of the show that day, packed out Drummoyne Oval, and we thought the Sydney Sixers, as 3 Sydney-siders, would get over the line and dominate, as New South Wales cricket has done for many, many years, except not in the last decade. And you know, like that dominance is kind of over, I think, in New South Wales cricket.
Sad day for our state, our great state, New South Wales. Very, very disappointed.
Oh, the whole country will be able to get in and around that as a theory. Edo's, the Big Bash is a thing that's still going on. There's been a lot of conjecture in print media, which is a thing that's also still going on apparently, that the conjecture is it too long? Is the Big Bash too long?
No, I don't think it is, he goes. I mean, yeah, is there a difference between 10 games and 14 games a season? It's marginal, as Trump would say.
Look, you like to use Trump.
I do like to drop Trump into episodes on television. Look, I think you've got to treat the Big Bash as it's a reality television show, and you just want to tune in. You want to see the characters that you know, that are familiar with, and maybe this season they haven't quite got the marquee players or characters that they need to make this reality television show a success.
Well, like, interestingly, he goes, the Channel 7 commentators were mic'd up with Chris Lynn. We don't have that footage here, obviously, but they were mic'd up with Chris Lynn, and they had Chris Lynn saying that he thought the season went for too long, and then Channel 7 kind of published that, which led many to speculate that Channel 7 have a problem with it. We're not in on these memos, by the way. We're just broadcast by them. We're not actually in on it. But, you know, the broadcasters starting to blow up about it. Fox Sports is as well.
We are involved in media rights deals, though. The great cricketer is responsible for not getting
watching
the ODIs, and you know that. Thanks.
So our Channel 7 rabble-rousing about the Big Bash League, we don't know.
We don't know.
Do you feel, lads, that the summer as a whole just feels really like it's lingering? Like it's still January somehow. This is the 93rd day of January. It's still going on. Like the state of the wickets have like sapped the life out of the Australian cricket consumer. You know, like there's too many low scores in the Big Bash. The wickets, the last 2 test matches against India, diabolical. There's this test series which starts in late January into early February against Sri Lanka, which is a test series that no one cares about, clearly, because 6,000 people turned up for the first day of the Gabba. And it just feels like now the Big Bash is kind of like off the back of that. There's now 30% extra games, but they're not very good quality games. Like, do you see what I'm, like? It's just like we want like shorter amounts, but then good quality amounts.
Do you reckon we just want a lot? Like, there's a lot of things that
we want a lot, Pez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But I think that you keep saying things and then just stop talking. But
that's the show.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of component parts that are there for the BBL, aren't there? But like, it's amazing how if the pitches are bad, then everything else kind of falls apart.
Can we stop talking about it as a product, though? I think the commodification of the Big Bash is one of the big talking points in the summer. It's this shiny product that Cricket Australia has to showcase to the world. And it's just I was about to swear then, but it is just a competition of cricket, and can we just like let it wash over us like it should be enjoyed?
The problem with the Big Bash is, or not the Big Bash, just cricket as a whole, is that it relies on weather. And as we know, I mean, clearly we all know Trumpism here, that, you know, the
global warming is a Chinese hoax. Yeah,
thank you, exactly, words out of my mouth, exactly. So
this is our last show.
This is our last show. Thank you to Donald for sponsoring this over the course of the last 8 weeks. Pez, we move on to our second segment today, the most important segment perhaps of this entire summer.
We can a quick word to our UK viewers out there. Ha ha. So
you know what we're talking about.
Our second segment is just a bit of a game we're going to play among each other. Amongst each other, you guys can play if you're watching at home as well. It's a very simple concept, and it's an important concept, and another stellar contribution from us, I think, to the cricketing discourse, to underline that this is probably our last show. It's called Cricketer or Serial Killer. We're just going to bring up a couple of pictures of people from the 19th century for sensitivity's sake, and we're going to debate whether or not they were a cricketer or a serial killer.
I think the crossover here is, Pez, that in both aspects, cricketers and serial killers are the worst people in society, so we thought we combine the two.
Okay.
Very similar personality characteristics required to play cricket or be a serial killer. So let's just see
which
what
is why
comes
we're
out
doing
of
this segment.
Yeah.
And you can play at home too.
Okay.
Cricket as well.
First one is coming up here. So this is your one, he goes.
That's my
isn't
one,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
So I picked out this guy, just punched some key performance indicators into Google, and I came up with this image.
SEO.
Yeah, okay. This guy, I mean, my guess is it's a fairly, the thing is the hair looks a bit killery. You know what I mean? A bit serial killery. This guy could have played in England in the late 1800s, I think. I mean, I'm just guessing here. That moustache is like curiously unkempt on the left-hand side. It's really thick to look at it, and then on the right it looks good. I don't know if that's a trick of the image
Could be
or
a
something.
lighting image.
That was just the style at the time.
Yes.
Lopsided facial.
So I'm not sure, actually. Do you have a view on whether he's a
I mean, he's
cricketer
got
or
a pretty strong jawline,
Yeah.
which is pretty synonymous with cult leaders of the time. I'd follow that guy anywhere, especially on the basis of that jawline. But I would have to say, serial killer.
Yeah, I'm gonna say cricketer.
Well, back in the day, with moustache-wise, you were either a lefty or a righty. And in this case, he was one of the two. That's actually Fred Demon Spofforth, who played 18 tests and took 94 wickets for England. Nicknamed Demon, I'm not really sure why. He bowled probably about 78 kilometres an hour in a business shirt at the time, which was deemed quick, and therefore he was a demon.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. This is you, Dave.
Yeah, this is my one. So here he is. He's a very intense-looking bloke. He's holding a gun in the photo, but that again was just commonplace in profile photos back then. Interesting character, very angular.
It's a drawing too. Isn't
It's a
it?
drawing.
So this could be a fictional character as well. Look, I'd say this is no doubt someone turning up to third grade with an uncovered wicket.
He's had a terrible net session.
They've made 300 in the first innings, and he's turning up in the second week. Wicket uncovered, so he's made sure he's brought some props.
Looks like an umpire, actually. That's the clicker they used to use back in the day.
I agree with that notion. He's definitely a cricketer. He's turned up to a lower socioeconomic part of town, so he needs to get safely into the dressing rooms. That's his training tracksuit that he's wearing. He's sun smart with a gardener's hat. He had a beard, so that's very third grade. I think he bowls. I think he just bowls these ones, just doorknobs, just gentle. They're sort of about lower down the order.
Yeah, wears long sleeves as well, just to indicate that he's a bit more of a senior player.
He might chuck it as well. There's a bit of a suspect act.
Yeah.
So he wears long
That's why he wears
sleeves.
long sleeves.
He also wears a gun. He brings a gun in case the umpire calls him.
Edos, what have we got here?
All hallmarks of a good middle grader, but actually, lads, this is one of the most famous Australian bushrangers. This is Dan Mad Dog Morgan.
Oh, that's Mad Dog.
Born John Fuller. His exploits actually inspired a film starring Dennis Hopper in the title role. So he's a very famous guy. I don't know if he played a lot of cricket.
Edos, I actually played with a guy called Mad Dog. So that's interesting. Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to ask some questions when I get back to the club.
Okay. This segment's going well. Okay. Next picture, guys. Yeah. Tell me.
Look at that. Look at that salad.
Firstly, what a salad.
Well, immediately, I want to say cricketer because I just want to say salad-based selection.
Yeah.
But I also look at him. I think he could charm his way into the hearts of anyone.
Absolutely.
So I think this guy could be, sort of a white-collar criminal. Dealt with some tax evasion. He was a swindler.
Right.
He was a swindler. But he had
He turned into a serial killer. That's the category.
Yes, he turned into a serial killer later in life, perhaps after charming the hearts and minds of the people.
Yeah, he's got I just can't get past the hairline. The widow's peak style. It's very fashionable. It's obviously come back in recently. The jaw, the structure. Those piercing eyes, but definitely a fourth grade cricketer.
Okay, guys, this is Montague Alfred Nobel, or M.A. Nobel. He played for New South Wales, Australia, considered one of Australia's greatest ever all-rounders, and actually has a stand named after him at the SCG, Montague Alfred Nobel.
He was a cricketer.
He
was a cricketer. Right, okay, he was a cricketer.
Big stand at the SCG named after a serial killer. So the next one here, this is one that I am rather fond of, lads. Again, strong features, posing in the traditional, looking into the middle distance style.
This looks like a club president. From 1910 also. I can see this guy standing up at the club presentation night.
Raconteur.
A raconteur. He's probably just taken a little bit more of the barkeep than he should have.
You can't see it, but he's actually got kind of rosacea from overly, drinking too much alcohol on a regular basis after the games.
And I think there are, and so I'm not saying that this person's a cricketer, just because they're a club president. In fact, I think a lot of club presidents probably have a former life of being a serial killer. We never know what they've done beforehand.
I think he's a gang leader, Pez.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
A lot of like Red Dead Redemption 2 chat at the moment. That sort of thing going around on the internet.
I don't know what it means.
It's Fortnite. So, yeah, this guy looks like a gang leader to me, sort of in the Razor kind of mould. I don't trust his moustache or his low sideburns. I don't trust his low, like it's wispy around the ear, but then round the jaw it gets thick again.
Okay. Actually, this is actually Colonel George Robert Canning Harris,
right?
Generally known as Lord Harris. He was a British colonial administrator and a well-known late 19th century cricketer. So he didn't go into serial killing. Obviously came to the crossroads and think, I'll choose cricket.
Right.
He led the English cricket team in Australia and New Zealand in 1878 and 79. Was actually formally recognised as the second English Test captain.
Wow.
Back in the day
It's
when
good that
any
he
bloke
didn't get
could
into serial killing.
The Baron.
He didn't get into it. He thought about it.
Next picture, please.
Pencil
This is my one. We should end this segment soon. So take your pick, guys. Is this a cricketer or a serial killer?
It's the Monopoly man.
I like his stovepipe hat. Now this is an old photo.
Yeah.
Well done. Great take.
This is last season's photo.
Yeah, I've not seen that filter on Snapchat before.
With different
if I
training
was being
shirts
honest.
now. Unbelievable coverage on the moustache.
He's an opening batsman. That looks like an opening batsman.
Is that a monocle? It might be
No,
an
I don't
opening
think it's a
batsman.
monocle.
I was hoping it was a
okay.
monocle.
Yeah.
So he's got glasses when he bats, like Trevor Bayliss.
He looks like the bookish intellectual that you might find at the top of an order. He
Yeah.
might bring the spreadsheet paper, the broadsheet. He'll do a crossword for you on a Saturday morning, Saturday morning. Yeah, that's my tip. He's opening bat who likes to read a crossword.
Okay, that's incorrect. This is Thomas Cream, also known as the Lambeth Poisoner. He was a Scottish-Canadian serial killer who claimed victims in the US, England, and possibly Canada and Scotland. He also may have been Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
Did he bat at all?
8. Batted 8.
Oh, okay.
Didn't bowl.
Last one of
Okay.
this fantastic segment.
Okay, of the last one of our show. This one's my one, lads.
wow.
No, this guy has 2 photos, not to give any sort of away. This is what they did for the team photos back in the
So
time.
they always had a profile.
They always had a
It's like Gautier, that film.
Yeah. Gautier was a good lower grader,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Well, he's well dressed, which would suggest to me that suit, that kind of
Yes.
double-breasted waistcoat,
Three-piece.
involves suit. Suggests to me that he's probably a well-to-do Englishman who probably played in the Surrey region, a well-resourced region in the UK. So I'm going to say, late 19th century middle-order batsman for Surrey.
Okay.
His
Weirdly
name,
specific.
He'll have George in his name or something like that.
Yeah.
He's,
I think he's probably like a 4th grader wwho wore a suit to training to establish political capital, was quickly ostracised from the club for being a rare unit, and then swiftly entered a life of crime and serial killing.
You're not wrong there, guys, but it's actually Albert Fish who was a cannibal.
Okay.
So,
He ate people.
That's a cannibal on our TV show.
About cricket.
Yep.
Lads, we've finally made it. The Ask TGC section of the program where you, the viewer, you write questions to us. Often they're quite absurd and lengthy. We've chopped some of them down. We've got 3 of them here today. You can get us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and probably a bunch of other social media platforms,
Tumblr,
etc.
Good intro.
So this one is from Mark Rose. His Twitter handle is Mark of Melbourne.
Yep.
Arrogant. At Grey Cricketer, thoughts on married at first sight bloke who lost the love of his life to playing grade and pro cricket? Ask TGC. Well, obviously it's a rival network, so we won't go into too much detail there.
I think we've done enough on this show.
We have done enough.
Well, he's a great cricketer, though. Cameron Merchant is his name, and he's a lovely man and a good-looking man, too. We wish him all the best as he attempts to end his cricket career and meet somebody who will be his unstinting soulmate for life at first sight.
is that what he's doing by going on the show? He's trying to actually get out of cricket, not to find the love of his life? Is this a ploy?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's a rhetorical
it's a cry
question.
for help, essentially.
That's all. It's all a cry
Okay.
for help. Everything about it is a cry for help.
Everything,
Yep.
this whole show.
Yep.
Next one, lads, comes from Michael Shaw at ShawMichael1. If England and Australia keep this up, is there a chance the Ashes could be on par with a 3rd grade game? AKA loads of blokes getting a good-looking 10 and then getting caught at cover. Could the standard be worse than the 2015 Ashes where everyone agreed to be shit all summer? Could it be worse?
I didn't realise everyone agreed to be shit all
Yeah,
summer.
I know,
I wasn't
We all bought
aware
in.
of those pre-contractual arrangements that they had made.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of like kind of manipulative question, possibly from a UK person. I'm not sure everyone in the 2015 Ashes was shit. I mean, I could remember a lot of really good performances, but anyway.
I like it. I like the notion that everyone is like. It's like I don't care what the standard is as long as it's close. We just want to be close.
If everyone's equally terrible, then that can be entertaining as well. So
they
as
should
long
play
as
in
there's
Ashes
some-
in the subcontinent. You know, that's what they should do.
They should do that.
I
yeah.
do agree
Do that.
all matches at the MCG are third grade fixtures though, as well.
Couldn't
Sorry to
agree
the
more.
Melbourne audience.
Couldn't agree
Ostracize
more.
them, ostracize them
In
too.
every single
No
way.
one's watching.
Okay, final one, lads. If anyone is still watching, this one comes from
Wouldn't have
Josh
thought so.
Lee. No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Hey, Josh.
Ask TGC.
Yep.
I'm a first-time captain in C1 warehouse cricket.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Is that a Chemist Warehouse reference? I don't know. Anyway, there's no trust from the lads. How do I get them to get around me? Well, we've talked a lot about the importance of surrounding others and being surrounded in turn by them. How does he get them to be around him?
Is C1 warehouse cricket just like he works in a warehouse and like he just plays at lunchtime?
Works at Kingsgrove.
Yeah, there's like
C1 seems like a section of the warehouse as well, so they play against each
Well, you
other.
have to C1. Yeah. You have a stick.
Yeah.
It's prison. He's an inmate. He's in
I mean,
C1.
I don't know if we've ever had a deeper question asked to us with this Ask TGC segment. Like, he's asking how does he establish trust and then to get people to get around him. I mean, there's probably like a trilogy of books in
There's
that.
no
You know what I mean?
trust from the lads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freud touched on it.
Trust
a few
in
books.
what?
Yeah. Well, that's the question.
Well, we need to deep dive this. How do we get him to get around? What can we do for Josh for people to get around him?
It's probably for another segment, but the first things that come into my head is obviously get into a 3-step skin regime like Tim Payne has to get a split session, like a split training program going on, which you can speak about. He goes chest, pipes, wear a training singlet. I mean, these things are just coming off the top of my head. Wear a suits training. You know, there's all sorts of things we've discussed for the last 5 years about how to engender trust.
Suits, gym, skin, those are the only ways you get any kind of trust in cricket.
Yeah.
It's a good point, Josh. To answer your question, we don't know, but the answer is definitely not here on this TV show. That's the Grey Cricketer on 7 signing off for this week with Ian Higgins, Sam Perry and Dave Edwards. We will see you maybe next week. I don't know.
Sorry.